Hey, how's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing good. So if you remember, I smoked the reflectors out. Well, now I got the last kit that I need, and it's the turn signal area and the reverse light. Right here from Lamin X. This will be the last thing you need if you're going to do the full kit here. Again, I just got the tint, or the lightest one they have, but I think it'll flow good with the factory lights, how smoked those are. So this is the inner portion here, or where the turn signal is. Another piece was the reverse light area. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you how it works. So here's the pieces you get, guys. 2 sets, of course. Really simple install. There's only one issue I have with this, and I'll share that with you in a second. But again, I recommend cutting the tabs off, for sure. Makes it a whole lot easier. Now, I didn't on this, and I'll show you why I recommend doing that. But here's the one issue I have. So this piece goes here on the center piece, right? But there's no cutout for the button here. So what you're going to have to do, I marked where the button goes on this piece, and then use the X-Acto knife and cut out the square around it. Now that's the only thing I could say. Like, they need to design it with that, because most of these cars have the trunk buttons. I don't know if they all do, but you need that because you can't cover the button. So I did that right here. Like I said, I just measured it, lined up where the hole was, used an X-Acto knife, cut it from the back side of the overlay, and now it fits perfect. But it should be like that, you know, when you order these things. So maybe they'll redesign it. I hope they do. But it's the only thing, if you're buying this kit, know you're going to have to cut out that button switch. But like I said, it's not hard to do. It's just lining it up and then cutting that little square out of it. Okay, so same thing. You clean this really well. I like the wet install. And you just peel, line it up. But you'll see the difference right now. See, it just adds that little bit of smoke tint to it. Like I said, you want a darker look, order the darker ones. But I like the subtleness of this. So I'm just lining up the square that I cut, lining up all around it, and then squeegeeing the water out. But if you can see the difference already, that part compared to the turn signal on that right side, it just adds a little bit of smoke to it. I like it. I mean, check that out. Subtle. It is subtle, I will say that. But that's the look I'm going for. So I'm just taking this and I'm squeegeeing the water with my finger out. This is easy to do because it's really thin too. Just be careful around the button that you don't ruffle the vinyl as you're pressing it down, because it is pretty thin there when you make the little cutout around it. But all I'm doing is pushing this down here. And it's nice because you can open the trunk if you want to tuck the edge on that side. But if you can see it, it is nice and subtle. I like that. Like I said, it flows with the factory, the darker red, and it doesn't cut down the light. Where if you go really dark, it can make it hard to people see the blinkers. So I've never been a fan of that. But just something to put on there to give it that just a little more aggressive look. And after doing all this, it does definitely look a lot more aggressive. So here's the turn signal piece. Make sure you know which one you're using. Okay. Same process. Like I said, you can do these dry install with no water. I recommend the wet install. From my experience, it's just easier to do. Gives you a better result. You're not going to stretch the vinyl doing it that way. So I just spray a little bit of water on there. And here I had some of the other overlay resting on it because I'm going to clean that up after I'm done with this. But basically the hardest thing with this is getting the fitment. It's all pre-cut. You just got to know exactly where to line it up there with. That's the hardest part. I had to take this off multiple times just to get to fit right where the light curves, because you don't want it hanging up on the edge. So again, take it off, keep trying it. It's the best way. If you're not happy with it, just take it off and redo it. Don't force it, because what you'll have is you'll have the overlay resting up on the red part of the light, and then it won't cover somewhere else. That's what I've realized with this. So one thing I would do differently though, you'll notice the tab is still intact, is to cut that. Because I messed this up by not listening to my own advice. I tried to cut it on the car. I had to keep pulling it away because I don't want to cut the light. By doing that, I cut in too much, so some of the light was visible under the overlay because I cut into it because I didn't want to cut the car. So it's just a very awkward way to do it. Way easier doing it, just cutting that tab off. Then you don't have to worry about it. So definitely start doing that if you guys buy these. Just right away cut them off and then do like any other install. Save you a lot of frustration, and you won't risk damaging your car for a little piece of vinyl. But I will say that for the cost of these overlays, it's probably one of my favorite things I've done so far as the appearance goes, for the cost. I mean, it does actually change it a lot. After getting these on, just that subtle darkness of the light with the factory darker red tail light, it just flows really well with it. And like I said, my reverse light still works perfectly through it. The turn signal still works good. So I personally wouldn't go darker than that. I mean, you can see how dark that got it. And this is the tint. And they have 3 shades darker than this. But I mean, I wouldn't go darker personally, just for safety reasons. It looks really good. And here I'm just squeegeeing out the water with my finger again. Easy to do. And like I said, with the wet install, you should be able to squeegee most of this out. Now, there will be a few air pockets, I'm sure, when you do this, just like when you tint your windows. Easy to do. Leave it out in the sun. After about a week, they should disappear. And they did on this. That's exactly what I did. I wouldn't recommend using heat on this, just because too much on this with a bigger area like that, it's easy to stretch the vinyl, and then it's going to ruffle it. So just drive it around, and you'll notice after a while, depending on the climate, they'll work themselves out. So it's no biggie. But looks really good. So here again, I'm just spray a little bit of water to help smooth it out. Like I said, the dry install would be really hard to do on this, just because you kind of have to get it right the first time, because you're going to keep stretching the vinyl each time you pull it off, because it's really tacky. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean these edges up here. So that's the finished product. Looks really sharp, I think. It's wrapped around the edges here. Cut the tabs off. Like I said, I did mess the right side up, so word of advice, just cut the tabs off right away. You see the difference? Definitely gives it that smoke look. I think it flows really well too. It looks factory to me. That's what I like about doing things. Like, I like it to look factory, but you see the light shines perfectly through it. Here's the one that hasn't been done yet. You can't really tell the difference. Of course, it's got to be a tiny bit because you're adding something to it, but it's nothing major at all. That's why I recommend staying with the light tint but it still looks really sharp. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that left side and finish it up here. Okay, so check that out. Really nice. And I like, like I said, the quality of this vinyl is high quality. It feels really nice. It feels like there's nothing on there. Nice and thick. Feels just like the piece of the plastic. But check this out. Turn the blinker on here. Looks really good. So I'd highly recommend these if you're looking for that little added touch to give your car a little bit more aggressive look. Check out the link in the description for Lamin X. They have all the overlays you need for this car, and they have a ton of cars they offer these for. The cord, all that kind of stuff they offer. So definitely check the link. Reach out to me if you have any questions, comments, concerns. I'll get back to you right away. Appreciate all the support you guys give. I really do. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. I'll have videos posted weekly. Try to help you guys out along the way. I appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thanks again, everybody.